Hey everyone, it's Brandy and welcome back to my channel, Brandy Janae's Bookshelf. Today I'm going to be wrapping up my end of December videos with my December wrap up. And starting next week, I should be doing my end of 2018 videos. I'm not sure exactly which ones I'm posting because I think I decided to cut at least one video from my end of the year videos because I'm gonna do something else instead, or I'm gonna use another video to talk about some of those things. But I guess that's not really important for this video. So I forgot to do some of my wrap up type things because with the way that I was using, I don't even know if you can actually see that, but anyway, the way that I was doing some of my stats in my wrap up videos, I forgot to do them because I thought I was going to finish another book and I didn't. And you know, with the start of the new year, I've been using my new reading planner and completely forgot to do this. But I did just calculate my page count. I just didn't calculate my overall rating for the month. In December, I finished 6 books. And like I said, I don't have my rating for the month, but I read a total of 2,674 pages. I think it might have actually been maybe about 300 pages more than that, maybe 350 pages more than that, because I was already reading Kingdom of Ash by the end of December, but I didn't record how many pages I had read in this specific journal, so I'm not going to be able to mention that in here. That page count will just go towards my January overall reading page count. So we're just gonna move it along. So as usual, I'm going to be doing my wrap up going in order from my least rated book to my top rated. So my least rated this year was 3 stars, and I have 2 books that I gave 3 stars to. The first one of those that I'm going to talk about is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I was not initially planning on picking this one up, but in December my hold of the audiobook ended up coming through. Anytime I had tried to read this before, I couldn't get past a certain point because it was really boring. It was a decent read. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be after hearing some people talk about the series, but it wasn't like the best thing ever either. I'm sure once I get later into the series I will enjoy it more, depending on where in the series, because I feel like people go back and forth, especially with this first series. Overall, like I said, it was a pretty good read and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I have that I gave 3 out of 5 stars to was Not So Nice Guy by R.S. Gray. This is a contemporary romance, and this is like a friends to lovers romance. This book follows these 2 main characters, and they met when they were going to orientations to start teaching at the school that they're currently teaching at. We find out pretty quickly that they both were attracted to each other, but I think when it first started they were each dating other people. But then after they weren't dating anyone, they still decided to just remain friends. Like neither one of them or both of them decided not to pursue the other. This new lady comes in as a substitute, like a extended substitute, because I think a teacher goes on maternity leave, and she finds the guy, the main character or the main male lead, attractive, and she was talking to the main female lead about it, and she was just like, no, we're not dating, and everyone assumed that the 2 of them are dating. So after this, we get a lot of people pursuing her, a lot of people pursuing him, and he finally decides to act on his attraction to her and basically see where it goes from there. This was another one where I enjoyed the story. I thought it was really cute, and I really enjoyed the process of the friends to lovers trope and how it was handled in this book. However, it wasn't anything spectacular. I feel like I hear a lot of good things about R.S. Gray, and I have read, I think this might have been my 2nd or 3rd book. I know I've read at least 1 more book by her. I don't know if it's just because I have read so many contemporary romances at this point, but I felt like this one was just pretty average for the overall story. The sexual tension between the 2 main characters was really good, and I felt like that was handled really well, but as a whole, I just felt like the story wasn't anything spectacular. I felt like I might be a little harsh with this, but That's just how I felt when it came to this one. Next, we're going to move right into my 4-star reads, and I have 3 of those. The first 2 I'm going to talk about together because they're part of the same series. I have Jock Rule and Jock Rule, which I'm going to put up over here. Both of those by Sarah Nye. This is first and second book in the Jock Hard series, I believe is what it's called. Jock Rule follows this character named Scarlett, and she is known as the sensible friend. So she has a couple friends who are pretty much like jock chasers. They're just really going after the jocks and trying to get with them and stuff like that. And at the beginning of this story, she decides to go out with a couple of these friends after being sick for a while. And things don't really go all that well because she's telling her friends, you know, maybe you shouldn't be hanging out with them, or, you know, you shouldn't be doing anything with them. And they aren't really happy with that. So they call her a cock blocker, and they get the captain of the baseball team to kick her out of the party. So he kicks her out, and she tells him, she's like, I'm not leaving until my friends come out. And of course, she has some pretty crappy friends, so they don't come out right away. They're more worried about the guys that they were trying to talk to. So he ends up sitting out on a porch with her until her friends come out, and they end up talking for a little bit. And then I believe it's like the next weekend, she ends up coming back again, and they end up just spending time and talking to each other. And this story is not necessarily like an enemies to lovers, but it's like they start talking and they become friends, and then they eventually leads to more. And I thought this was just a really sweet and cute romance, especially for new adult. I feel like a lot of new adults, it's like people hook up and then it's like where it goes from there. But this one, I don't think anything happens until like at least halfway through the book. It was pretty slow burn for quite a bit of it, and I just thought it was just like a really sweet and cute, like I said, new adult romance. When I was talking about this, I believe in my December TBR, I think I might have mentioned that I was pretty sure that I was gonna give this a 5 stars, even though I had like initially given it 4 stars. After rereading this, I decided it would probably be best to just stick to my 4-star rating because it wasn't perfect. There were some things that I wasn't the biggest fan of, which I think is why I gave it 4 stars the first time I read it. And then Jock Rule, I don't remember the characters' names, and I don't have the book right in front of me to like look at it to see what the characters' names were. But this one is following another pretty like quiet girl who doesn't go out much or anything like that. And I think with her, she has like a really crappy best friend slash roommate. They have been friends for a really long time, but it's clear to see that her friend is just using her to her advantage, and it's just like a really bad situation. And the main male lead is a rugby player. They say pretty early on like rugby isn't the sport at the school, but they end up meeting because she goes to this party and she ends up like at the keg pouring drinks for people all night, and he comes up and he says something to her about it, but he ends up like inviting her back to his place, and like it's another situation where they become friends, and then it leads to more. And it was another really cute and sweet romance. It was pretty funny at times, and I wasn't expecting to enjoy this one as much as I did. But if you're looking for a new adult romance that's not raunchy, I guess is the best way to say that, I think this is one that you should definitely pick up. Like I said, I gave both of those a 4 out of 5 stars. The other book that I gave 4 out of 5 stars to was Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 6 in the Throne of Glass series. Like, as I'm thinking about this, I don't feel like this even deserves a 4 out of 5 stars. I think the ending kicked it up for that, or maybe like the last 25% of this book. The majority of this book, I feel like nothing was really happening. If you guys haven't heard of it already, which I would be really surprised because everyone I feel like has been talking about this. This book was initially supposed to be a novella, but it got turned into a full-length novel, and it's following Kel. It doesn't only follow Kel, we're also following Nesrin and Irene, or Irene, however you say her name, the healer, who was previously mentioned in the Assassin's Blade. It was one of those stories where she was brought up. This book, I feel like most of the, like, I was on this, like, like I was on two sides of a coin, because on the one hand I appreciated how the disability rap was handled in here. Even though I don't have any personal experience with it, I felt like it was really well done from what I can say about it, which I can't say much, but I felt like things were handled well on that front. But at the same time, I felt like there was a lot of nothing going on. I know that a lot of this was mostly for the political intrigue and trying to get this other nation who we hear stuff about, but we don't really get in interaction with them until this book, trying to get them to agree to come help out in this war that is starting. But I didn't care most of the time. I was interested in the whole healing aspect, and what this inkling of darkness that was left inside Kel back in Empire of Storms, how that was interacting with the healing and all of those things. And then somewhat of Nesrin's relationship, mainly with Sartak, but everything else that she was going through, it was just like, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't necessarily care about. And I feel like this is stuff that should have been introduced or could have been introduced in other books. This one, is one of those things where I'm just like, it was interesting, but it kind of wasn't. And I just felt like, I don't know, maybe I felt like it didn't need to be as long as it was, because I think this was almost 700 pages. Yeah, this is close to 700 pages. So I just feel like it didn't need to be that long. And we could have gotten a lot of the information that we got, maybe cutting this book in half at least. It was a lot of waiting. And at this point in the series, I feel like we shouldn't be waiting around that much. And I'm having a similar issue because I'm currently reading Kingdom of Ash, and I'm having a similar issue with that one, where I just feel like for it being almost 1,000 pages, it doesn't need to be that long, because a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with could have been cut out. But as far as this book, I think I decided to give it 4 out of 5 stars, because once we got to a certain point, there were a lot of reveals, which were stuff that I guessed, but it was still pretty shocking when it came up. And it was just really exciting. And like, I'm pretty sure that characters learn some of the stuff that was revealed in here, and they learn it. They haven't all talked about it yet, because I'm sure once they all get back together, then they will relay information. But yeah, those reveals were really exciting, which is what really bumped it up. And then some of the action towards the end, and the way some of the things were resolved without really being completely fixed, I guess is the best way to say it. I appreciated how that was handled. But overall, I just felt like this didn't need to be as long as it was, which I feel like is going to be a similar complaint, like I said, with Kingdom of Ash whenever I talk about that one. And finally, the last book that I have to talk about, which I gave a 5 out of 5 stars to, was Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 5 in the Throne of Glass series. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if that's like picking up on camera, but I have a lot of tabs in this. And I think I even have, a few on the top. I think my camera, not the camera, but the light that I have on is washing out the tabs. But I have a lot of tabs in here. And this book, I felt like, was really exciting. This is another one where I felt like some of the things probably could have been cut out. However, there was a lot going on. And I know a big complaint was a bunch of the different perspectives, but I feel like in this book, we got to see a lot of the characters who are gonna obviously play a bigger role in the finale. And this one, I felt like there were so many stakes in this book, and it was just like so much. And it was pretty heartbreaking at times, and it was really exciting at times. And it was just, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain all of this. It was just so much, and I felt like this one was really well done, and I loved it. I think so far in the series, this is definitely my favorite. I feel like a lot of them are like building up, but out of the 6 books that I have completed so far in the series, this one is definitely my favorite. And I think by the end of Kingdom of Ash, this might still be my favorite, because so far Kingdom of Ash is not my favorite. This is good. Like I said, I gave this one a 5 out of 5 stars, and I loved it. So those are the 6 books that I finished in December. I will be doing like a video of all the books that I read in 2018 with the ratings, so I can recap that for you guys, but that will be a video that will be going up next week sometime. If you guys are up for it, let me know what you read in December, or if not, let me know what you thought about any of these books that I talked about if you have already read them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys again in the next one. Bye.